The other direction, there's a sign that says Chin Chin. There we go. Back on? We also have 4 new board members for the Board of Adjustment serving this term, 2 of which are on this hearing tonight. Joe Motz, Nick Olson are also joined by Martha Gadberry and T. Buta, who are new members of the Board of Adjustments. So with that, we'll kick off the session with item number 1 item number 2 on the agenda, which is the consent item. This is it's item to approve the minutes of the December 17th, 2024 Board of Adjustment meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the last board meeting?
I move to approve.
Member Langston moves to approve the consent item. Do I have a second?
Second.
Member Smock seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous consent. Okay, on to the next item. We do have a slight change to the agenda in that I'm going to call for, prior to the public hearing opening with testimony, I'm going to call for the board to step into a brief executive session to review some information about this session tonight. So we will be back with you as soon as we can. Please be patient with us, but we'll make this as quick as possible. So this time we're going to step into executive session this way. Bring your books. Thank you for your patience. We're returning from executive session at 7:25 to resume the meeting this evening. This time, we will begin the public hearing portion of the session, and the chair would officially open the public hearing, recognizing Sheila Morales, Town Secretary, as Town Representative, to submit evidence for the hearing.
Okay, before I do, I, Sheila Morales, swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. And I am here to submit the packet as evidence that includes the agenda, the consent agenda, the application requesting the variance, including the supporting documentation received from the applicant, the building permit application, the building official affidavit regarding the red tag, applicable sections of the town ordinances detailing height requirements, square footage maximum, and side yard setback requirements, the accessory building pictures and square footage summary, public hearing notice information, and additional pictures of the accessory building on the property.
Thank you. Submission of those documents is noted. I believe everyone on the board has a copy of all the documentation in front of us. At this point, we'll open up for public input on the matter at hand. Before that, I'll read the item in front of us. We're opening the public hearing. Town of Copper Canyon Board of Adjustment will conduct a public hearing for the purpose of hearing any and all comments regarding item 1 and only 1, the request from Kimberly and Grant Duffy, owner of real property located at 325 Mobile Drive, Copper Canyon, Texas, legally described as Copper Canyon Addition Block A, Lot 1, Town of Copper Canyon, Denton County, Texas, for a variance from the Town of Copper Canyon on General District Zoning Regulations, Article 4, Section 4-104, items B2, B3, and F8. The request is for a variance from the accessory building height requirements, maximum square footage requirement, and minimum side yard setbacks based on height. The ordinance, based on the height of the building, calls for a 35-foot side yard setback. The landowner is requesting approval of an 18-foot side yard setback. The ordinance additionally requires a maximum building height of 20 feet. The resident is asking for an approval of 23 feet 6 inches in roof height. In addition, the ordinance requires a maximum square footage of 1,200 square feet. The residence is asking for approval of 1,622 square feet. At this time, I will invite any individuals who wish to speak on this matter. We will allow the homeowners or homeowner representatives to speak as the last item. Does anyone wish to speak on this item before the homeowner representation speaks? Oh, sorry. Sorry, we did open up the public hearing officially at 7:26. Apologies for that. I do have a request here from Grant Duffy, I believe is the homeowner. Public input request from Kim Delaney. Anyone wish to speak? Do you wish to speak?
Yes, please.
Please. I do need you to step up to the microphone here and speak into the microphone. Prior to giving any statement, there is a truth oath printed on the podium, and if you would please speak that with your name for the record.
I, Kimberly Delaney, swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
I'm Kim Delaney. I'm at 330 Mobile Drive. I live across the street from Kim and Grant. And I just wanted to speak a little bit about when this started. I'm a process improvement expert. And when they started to tell me what was going on with the building permits, I started to dig in a little bit because I know they followed the process. And so, Troy, you're here, and so you know I'm a big process girl. And so I started looking at the website. I spoke with Steve. I wanted to understand where the ball was dropped, because clearly the ball was dropped or we wouldn't be here. And I started to question how SafeBelt even got involved in all of this. Was there an RFP, which is a request for pricing? When did we decide that we needed an outside vendor? to go ahead and do the work that Steve, I believe, previously did. I started to question a little bit about the process of the if you did an RFP, which is a request for pricing, did we go out for bids? If we did go out for bids, who came up with the requirements that we were seeking, and who did the final selection of Safe Built? We do this in corporate America so that we can reduce the appearance of conflict of interest or conflict of interest. And so that means you really can't throw your friend or your brother-in-law a bone by throwing them a contract. We have a fair bid for a vendor pricing. So with that, I started to do a little bit more questioning, and sorry, I'm a little upset. So with that, I wanted to understand really how the process then goes from when we introduce Safe Built into the overall town overseeing this. And what kind of formalities did we go through as we create a new process? Because when you create a new process, everyone involved in that process needs to be involved. And so that would be the council, that would be Steve, probably the engineer, a lot of folks involved in doing all of this. And what comes out of that is what we call a RACI, and we understand the roles and responsibilities. And everyone is accepting those roles and responsibilities. And so while we have Safe Built in place, we also had Steve in place, and there may have been others in place. They are responsible for different things, such as the inspections of the homes. The accountability, however, lies on the council and the town, because they hired the Safe Built, they hire Steve, and they hire whoever else goes in. And so what I'm asking today, the citizens here, we trust that the council is doing what they need to do for our budget. They're good stewards of our budget and bringing in vendors to help us proceed quickly through different processes. So we trust that. We trust that when we go onto the websites, that our builders can follow a process that's easy, that's clear, and that doesn't get us into these situations. So we have trust and we have accountability. What I'm asking is for you all, since we're in this situation, to really think about how we can work together with the builder, with the homeowner, and with the town to come to an agreeable resolution to this so that no more time or money is wasted. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before we call representation for the homeowner, any last people wish to make public comment? Please. I failed to mention at the beginning of that, we do ask you to keep your comments to 3 minutes, so I'll...
Are we allowed to both speak?
Individually,
Yeah.
individually, if you don't mind.
Okay.
You will be both allowed to speak, but do keep your comments to 3 minutes. And before you speak, please read the truth oath that's there, and
Okay.
we'll recognize you.
All right, I'm gonna have him pass out some
Sure.
stuff for you guys. Yeah. So I, Melissa Larson, swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Thank you.
Okay. So my name's Melissa Larson. My husband Tim and I live at 315 Mobile Drive, which is just east of the Duffy's house, and we moved in 2020. We've been here for 5 years. We have enjoyed the Duffys as our neighbors. We've never had any issues with them. This is the first conflict that we've had that's came up. In July, Kim Duffy texted me informing me that they were building a pool house. They were having twins and needed some extra space. And I texted her the next day and I asked her how big the building was going to be and kind of where they were putting it on their lot. And she said just under 1,000 square feet so it could meet code. We congratulated them. We've been nothing but we were excited for them. Fast forward to, it kind of went really quickly and started being built. And once the framing went up, we were completely shocked. It did not look like a pool house, what we imagined what a pool house would look like. This looks like a second home on a property. We didn't call the town right away. We were just kind of like, okay, what's their property? If it meets code, we can't be, can't really tell them what to do if it meets code. The next day I called the town, talked to Troy, the town administrator, and I told him of our concerns. I emphasized several times that I really wanted to be kept anonymous. We had a great relationship with our neighbors. We have no ill will towards them, and he assured me that that would be confidential. I did not call to complain. I called to ask if it met code, because as you can see in these pictures, this is the framing where it has been stopped, but this is how it looked the day that I called. And I just could not believe that living in Copper Canyon that we could have structures this close to our fence line. The next day, Troy called me back, told me that the project had been inspected and the roof was at 21 feet and the side yard was right at 20 feet. That's what I was told on the phone. I asked if that meant exactly 20 feet, and he said that it was, but they would get exact measurements to make sure. I left that phone call with the assumption that it met code, and I didn't do anything else at that point about it. The very next day, I get a very frustrated phone call from Grant Duffy telling me that the city had told him someone had complained and caused the town to put a stop on the construction. He proceeded to tell me that the shutdown of this project was my fault. He wanted to bring his builder over that night to discuss us signing a variance on their property and that it was at 18 feet. This was the first time that I had known that it didn't meet code, because I did not know that. I tried to explain to him that this was not my fault. This was between the builder and the city. I'm really frustrated. I think two things can be right here. I can feel bad about the situation that you guys are in. I think we can all agree on that. And we can also not be okay with this as a property owner. We are the ones that are directly affected. I would invite anybody to come to our property and see what this looks like from our backyard. It's completely different than from the front yard.
Ms. Larson, we're at 3.5 minutes.
Okay.
If you wish to say, make up any wrapping
Let
comments,
me
please.
finish this paragraph and then I'll hand this over to Tim. Kind of after that phone call, I reiterated that I did not do anything wrong, and that, we just were concerned. It did not look like a pool house to us. It looked like a second home, and that we were completely surprised at how tall the structure was. It really took us off guard. Okay, I'll let him finish.
Thank you.
I, Timothy Larson, swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Thank you.
So thank you, Melissa, for all of that. So here we are tonight because the fact is that the structure is in the process of being built and has already gotten a permit that, according to our understanding of the town code, should have never been permitted. It does not meet town code. That is clear. That is clear by the town's own letter notifying all of us at this meeting tonight. So the permit should have never been granted, according to the best of our collective understanding. In order to get a variance on this, they're requesting a variance on 3 different items, and the town lays out on their forms exactly what is needed to get approved for a variance. They must meet all 4 requirements, and we state in this letter that they don't meet any of the 4 requirements. Again, they have to meet all 4, and they meet none. So according to the law that's on the books, the town code, this building should not be built. The permit should have never been granted. It should not go forward, and a variance should not be granted. So this lays out many different things. Basically, this is more than just a pool house or accessory building. This is a second home. It has a 1-car garage, bedroom, bathroom, and room for a golf simulator. So I'm not sure why we're arguing here over the golf simulator as being critical to a house requesting a variance for hardship. The footprint is 1,200 square feet. The limit for footprint is 1,200 square feet. This structure is 1,622. That's 35% too big. In order to meet the setback requirement, they need to double the amount of space in between the property line and the structure. They're not off by a little bit. They're off by 17 feet. That's double. This thing is so big and so close to our backyard that it literally blocks the sunset 2 hours before sunset, or blocks the sun 2 hours before sunset. You can see on the pictures that the shadow that this thing casts over our pool, our hot tub, our backyard living area, These are not movable things. We cannot move. These are fixed objects in our backyard. So this decreases our enjoyment of our property. And as you can see by the attached letter from a couple of local realtors, this decreases the marketability and the resale value of our property. This does not fit with the town of Copper Canyon. There's nothing else like this in Copper Canyon we can find. There's not a building this big, this close to someone else's house. So that's all in here. We don't believe that there's a unique circumstance or hardship. Their lot is flat. It's very similar to ours. They could build it in many different places. You'll see on the last picture, it's a hard-to-see picture of a panoramic view taken from the street. There is a west side of their property that's up against a large tree line that sits next to a lot that is 4 acres where there's a house way set back in. They could easily put a code-approved building on that side over there to gain extra space that they desire within town code that would not affect our property negatively. Part of the reason for granting them or not granting them a variance depends upon if it decreases the enjoyment or the function of adjacent property. It greatly decreases the enjoyment of our property. The function of our property may be compromised by the drainage system. We have a very complex set of drains on the west side of our property in between us and the Duffys. This roof line and the drainage system proposed, I do not think will accomplish the concern for runoff that we have on that side of our yard. We've already had to do extensive work. We've had to hire companies. We've had to change our fence. We've had multiple drains put in. It's been a whole deal.
Mr. Larson, we're at time.
Okay.
Give you a few more seconds.
Sure. Let me just finish by saying that 2 wrongs do not make a right. This permit was wrongly granted. To allow this building to go up would be wrong. It'd be wrong to us, it'd be wrong to our neighbors, it decreases their home values as well. 2 wrongs do not make a right. We do not accept this property, do not accept this structure and request that it be removed.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Any other members of public input wish to speak? Yes, sir?
I'm sorry, I thought you had the public input up there.
It's a different section. If you would like to speak on this, we can hear you. Sheila, how would you like to do this for Ms. Sue?
Sue Tamel, 835 Orchid Hill. Let me turn around a bit. I, Sue Tamel, swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Thank you.
How many of you have looked at this property firsthand recently?
I'm sorry. We're glad to hear your input, but we
That's
should be
fine.
answering questions. Sorry.
All right. I had just driven by to look at it. It struck me that 2 things could be done that would at least take care of 2 of the variances. One, the frame of the roof could be dropped down probably 3 feet easily, and that would take care of the height variance that they're talking about. The other thing is when you reduce the height, you also reduce the side yard that you need. Whether it would comply with the 18 feet by that time, I don't know, but it'd go a long way towards that. The third thing is that our building inspector was at a airport in Florida on vacation when he was called and asked to approve the plans on a cell phone. Most building plans are pretty wide and tall, and you usually open them up on a big desk or table and look at them. But he was asked to do this on a cell phone, as you can well imagine. The footage that he looked at was 924 square feet. That's the air-conditioned space. What he didn't realize was there was open space that also would have added more, but he thought it was under the 1,200 square foot limit. And so he said very reluctantly, they told me to sign on the computer, and I did. And he said I should have just insisted that they make me wait the 2 days till I got back home, and then I could have inspected it in person and known what was going on. So I don't know if they could take off the unair conditioned space, if that would get it back to the 926 square feet or not. but it is a hardship for everybody that possibly with some creative thinking could be resolved. So thank you for listening to me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I did receive a written question about can people who are making public comment ask questions. Asking questions of the board is, we are here to hear evidence in this hearing presented to us. Our decisions come from the evidence that's presented to us that we make a decision on. So it's, if you have a procedural question or that we wouldn't interpret any legal questions or anything like that in this session in terms of questions. But if you have a procedural question or something like that, I'm happy to try to address that. But any questions about evidence or about our decision making would not be appropriate. Okay? Any other public input or any other members any other citizens wish to input before we move on to the homeowner and homeowner's representation? Once again, I try to keep your comments to 3 minutes and start with the reading of the truth oath into the microphone, please.
I, Landry Miller, swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Thank you.
So my name is Landry Miller. I'm the builder. We're not going to get into how this all got approved. I do believe that people make mistakes. People are on vacations, and it is where we at. But I do believe that Steve Kohler is a great guy. I've known him a very long time, and he's always done the job correctly. With that being said, lowering this building 3 foot 6 inches is not going to help sunlight. No one owns the view. No one owns the sun. There's no mountain ranges on the other side, the west side of the Duffy's houses. Lowering it 3 foot 7 inches is not going to help anything.
Can I pause you a second? I just have a question. There's in the evidence packet is a notarized statement from the homeowners that you are representing them in this hearing. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. And is he allowed to speak too?
Yes, I just want to make sure it's true because if that's true, then I'm going to invite the board members to ask you questions of clarification to what you're testifying to, which is different than public input to the point. So I just want to clarify that if you're representing them.
I am the one that, yes.
Thank you.
So do you want me to?
No, please continue with
Okay.
your statement.
So going back to that, lowering this 3 foot 6 inches is not going to make the view, the sunset, or anything any better for the neighbors on the east side of them. Lowering the square footage is not going to help either. And a part of this square footage is the patio being bigger. That's part of this square footage is why we're over, okay? With that being said, I believe, and other people that I've spoke with believe that it would be a good buffer between the two residents because they're about to have 3 kids playing in a pool, making noise, splashing around. This building separates their houses, and it actually gives the Larsons a view that they don't have to hear kids splashing and playing in the pool. It actually gives them some privacy, is from what I believe and other people that I've spoke with believe. Whether they believe that or not, that's up to them. But it actually makes their yard look bigger, appears bigger, because you see a building next to it and it directs your eyes towards the northwest corner of the property. And that's where we stand on this.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I have a couple questions for you, please, which is why I asked you if you were representing the homeowners in this case. You are registered as a general contractor in Copper Canyon, obviously, or you couldn't get the permit, correct?
Yes, sir.
Have you built other structures in Copper Canyon
Yes,
previously?
sir.
And how long have you been building in Copper Canyon?
15 to 20 years.
Okay, so substantial experience there. Are you familiar with the ordinance that this is in reference to?
Somewhat.
Okay, so you didn't just directly read that when building the plans for this?
I did not design the building.
Okay, so that was designed by a different
It's an architect he's here.
Okay. So my question is, the submission of the plans for permit was a submission of a non-conforming structure.
Yeah, from what I was told, that the architect had already gone over everything, and then that when we turned it in, it got approved by Mr. Kohler, and it got approved at the end of the day by Safe Built. So we didn't dig any further into it.
Okay, so you weren't aware that it was non-conforming when you submitted it?
No, sir.
Okay.
I wouldn't have turned it in. And then when it got passed by Safe Built, at the end of the day, Safe Built's the one that makes the final call. From what I understand, we started to build it.
Okay, so there were no questions about the ordinance that you had prior to getting into this? You didn't have to clarify the square footage requirements based on patio or otherwise? You were just going based on the plans that were submitted
Yes, sir.
against the ordinance? Okay.
And Jackie from my office, she's the one that turned everything in, and she said we got the permit approved.
Okay. Do any other members of the board have questions for Mr. Miller?
What would you have to do to mitigate these? What would you have to do to mitigate these violations?
We could lower the roof line. That would get us down to 20 feet. But the square footage, I mean, the slab's already there. To get the square footage down, you'd have to redo it. And the Duffys have already spent $127,000, so that's a hardship. We have material, windows, AC units, material that's off-site being stored right now that's already been purchased. We were rolling, we were getting this thing done in time for their two twin daughters to be born. That's why we have material off-site and material on-site that could have been installed already.
Any other questions? Please.
How far above the natural grade did you put topsoil down?
Would say about 6 inches. And we have an engineered drainage plan. We have gutters that are gonna,
Foundation is only 6 inches above the grade, the normal grade of the
it's the same, I believe it's the same height as the current house, yes, sir. A little lower, actually. And we have an engineered drainage plan, and we were gonna have gutters that were running the water off. And we were gonna have vegetation on the east side of the Duffy's house with plants and to divert the water away from the Larson's house. I even have, before we poured the foundation, I didn't want to mess up their yard, so I actually have topsoil brought in and it's piled behind the house right now, so we could actually do our dirt work correctly after we were done building it. Because I didn't want to bring in dump trucks full of dirt and have to run it between their houses. So I already have the dirt there to do the final grade.
Any other questions?
I have a general question.
Okay.
Can someone enlighten me about who it was that was encouraging the inspector to approve the plans without having the complete plans in front of them?
Yeah, we'll cover that. We'll cover that piece of evidence and that question in our review, as we'll cover that testimony in our review for evaluation. Anything further?
I'm good.
Okay,
Thank you.
As the homeowners or property owners of the property in question, Kimberly and Grant Duffy, I know the architect referenced here the architect was referenced as being here. I don't know how you want to proceed in terms of, do you wish to speak as well, or do you want to be represented by somebody else this time?
Hello.
Please, yes.
I, Austin Fleming, swear to affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Thank you.
My name is Austin Fleming. I represent Excerpt Studio, the design firm that designed the structure. I also represent the clients, Kim and Grant Duffy. We last heard about the project in June and submitted plans. We also want to thank you for the opportunity to design in your county. We had a successful project up the street, and we thought this was a successful project as well. We best met the wishes of the client, Grant and Kim, with their program and their expanding family. And we wanted to match the context the best we could. The existing house has a 10 and 12 pitch, so we submitted plans with the 10 and 12 pitch, putting it 3 feet over. That was submitted for a dialogue to open up, for us to have the review and discuss that for a variance request. If we had kicked back comments on that, we would have submitted with an 8 and 12 pitch, putting it right at 20 feet. The square footage number that went over, Copper Canyon adopts the International Building Code 2009, and so we base the building footprint on the definition of what a building footprint is, which is the exterior wall meeting the ground, not the covered space. So if you take that into account and you take off the covered terrace, that puts us at 57 feet over the square footage number total. Those would have been the revisions that we suggested had we heard about it prior to this point in time. And I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have.
So similar to the question asked Mr. Miller, when you were designing the structure for the Duffys, did you specifically read the Copper Canyon Town ordinances related to the setback requirements,
We
height
did.
requirements, otherwise? Did you seek any clarification on any of the specific items related to that for the design work that you were doing specifically to the town?
We submitted the plans in hopes to do that.
So when you submitted the plans, I think what you said is you submitted them knowing that it was non-conforming to seek a variance, to have the dialogue to seek a variance? That was the intention?
Yes, per our architects on staff that reviewed it, they were basing it off of the International Building Code 2009 with questions.
But
of
that
the
only
variance.
pertains to the square footage question. For the height and setbacks, that had nothing to do with the building code.
Correct, and that's, on the plans, that's why we measured out the building height. International Building Code 2009 also states that the building height is based off the medium height, based off the highest ridge, that medium point, which is, we're well under that 20 feet if that's the case, but that's not the ordinance definition, so we measured it on plans and submitted.
Okay. Have you designed, you said you've designed other projects in Copper Canyon before?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. That's all the only questions I had. Any other
You keep referring to this 2009
Yes, sir.
International Building Code. So in individual townships, you don't care about their ordinances?
We do.
You just worry about the 2009 and tell within that, so the heck with you guys?
Not at all. No, we do appreciate the ordinances, we respect them, we just.
Then why don't you comply with them or tell the Duffys they would need to get a variance for your plan to be approved?
That's what we thought we were submitting for, is variance and communication for
So
review.
you thought you were submitting a variance at the time?
Correct. That was back in June, and then the next communication we had was the framing was up.
Who's responsible for submitting that?
The builder,
It's the builder,
yeah,
not
we
you.
gave it to the builder, yes, correct.
So you're saying the builder failed to submit the variance request from your plan?
No, I think he was operating under the guise of he was doing all the right things, as the Duffys were as well.
Mr. Fleming, you said that you were aware of the variance, or you were aware of the ordinance, you're prepared to have a discussion on the variance?
Yes.
Did you prepare the Duffys for that? Did you have a conversation with them that this was outside of the normal ordinance, and it may go for variance?
I believe we talked about that it could go for variance.
Okay. Okay, that's all I had.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, guys.
Oh, sorry. So anybody else wishing to speak on this matter, Mr. and Mrs. Duffy, or you intending to speak directly, please, if this is the time, we'll welcome your input.
I, Grant Duffy, swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Thank you.
First off, thank you for your time. I appreciate this. We're here today requesting a variance for our accessory building. The most important point that I want to make clear is Our plans were approved by the town inspector, Steve Kohler, and Safe Built before we began construction. We relied on the approval in good faith, and every step we've taken has been based on the understanding that we were in compliance. From the very beginning, we've been very diligent and intentional about this project. We began financing discussions with the bank in July of last year. In October, we engaged Exurb Studio to prepare professional architectural drawings. We worked with them through February until the final plans were complete. And in March, we started interviewing builders. On April 28th, we signed a contract with Stallion Signature Homes. On May 13th, we secured a builder's risk insurance policy. May 28th, we completed a professional drain survey to ensure compliance and avoid runoff issues. We then closed on June 17th with Freedom Title. 1 week later, the town approved and signed our building permit. Following that, our plumbing rough-in was inspected on August 4th. Our foundation was inspected on August 14th. As of today, foundation, rough plumbing, full framing are all complete. A lot of the building materials you'll see sitting in our backyards. We also have a nice porta potty if you'd like to come use that as well. And we have the AC unit in our garage, and major components such as windows, doors, brick, and fixtures have all been ordered or partially paid for. The stop work order was issued on August 22nd. As of today, our project has been delayed by more than 25 days. First off, we were shocked when we heard that we had to issue a stop work order was issued, especially given the many steps that we had taken up to this point to think that we were in compliance. So far, we've spent just over $127,000 on this project. If the stop work order had not been issued, we would have completed this building prior to the birth of our two twins coming in November. Now, through no fault of our own, we will not be able to finish on time. This variance will not create any negative impacts. Our drainage survey confirmed that there are no runoff issues. The project does not interfere with septic access. So building on the west side of our house would be building right on top of our septic tank. Not feasible. And the design is fully consistent with community standards and matching our home as well. Finally, our circumstances are unique. I work from home full-time for a Chicago-based company. This building's essential for me to continue working productively. At the same time, my wife and I, as I mentioned, have a 2-year-old and have twins on the way in November, potentially as early as October. Stress is going to send her into labor here. Just kidding. This project was planned to provide the space and stability we need for our growing family. Denying the variance now would create significant financial hardship after we followed the process carefully and relied on the town's approval in good faith. For all these reasons, we respectfully request that the council grant this variance so we can complete this project responsibly. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thanks, Mr. Duffy. Just a couple questions from me. Have you had discussions, I read your statement about the hardship related to the family considerations and what you're doing there. Have you had discussions with the builder or the architect regarding remediation for this project if you're not granted a variance?
We have not began that discussion yet.
Okay.
Not at this time.
So other than it is going to cost money, you don't know what it's going to cost at this stage?
That's correct. I don't know obviously there's a full foundation. The backyard's, essentially ruined at this point, should we have to completely remove the structure. But no, I don't have a cost of what it would.
Have you discussed any redesign criteria of the building itself related to the square footage to remediate that aspect of it specifically?
Yeah, once again, we have not started any conversations on a redesign at this point, so.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
This question might sound judgmental, it's not. Were you familiar with the ordinances for accessory buildings in the town of Copper Canyon?
I, sir, sell employee benefits for a living. So if you want to read a 57-page LTD contract, have at it. I certainly didn't want to go read ordinances. I knew that they were strict. I don't, so that's why we took all the steps to go through this. So to say I had no idea is not accurate. I did know that there were pretty strict
Sure.
ordinances, which is why we took all the steps that we have to this point. Once we got approval, we thought we were good to go.
I guess I'm a glutton for punishment. I think Sheila saw me 4 or 5 times during my home construction, but fair enough. No, it wasn't a judgmental question. I just wanted to see if you did. Any other questions, Mr. Duffy?
I have a question.
Sir?
Kind of a follow-up of where you were going there on the variances. Were you notified or have discussions with your builder or the builder designer anytime through the process about the potential of you having to apply for a variance?
No, sir. If
So
we,
none of that was brought up?
no, if we had, any questions of that, we would have certainly made the adjustments necessary prior to spending $130,000. So,
Can we call somebody, can we call the designer back up for another question?
Let's hold that for now until we go back, till we get the rest of the input and determine that. Any other questions?
Yeah, you said you weren't aware of variances were needed, but previously the architect said he knew you needed variances and he said he spoke to you. You deny that statement that he spoke to you that variances would be required?
yeah, we had a lot of back and forth as far as when we were going through it, we thought that the AC space had to be less than 1,000 square foot. So we probably went back and forth 10 times on trying to maximize that space of how we could get under 1,000 square foot of AC space. But that was really the extent of those conversations, was just the AC space, not
So
necessarily.
he didn't bring up the other variances that?
No, sir.
He only brought up the AC space?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay. We also heard testimony under oath from Kim Delaney. It's a text from you guys, and I'll read the text, and do you deny this text, or you agree with it? She asked you how big, you said just under 1,000 square feet per code requirements.
That was my wife, Kim,
Sorry.
not Kim Delaney, the neighbor.
Melissa Larson.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it was submitted as evidence. Do you agree that was?
Sorry. I got a question. Someone
Okay.
who's not sworn in under oath.
Okay, so you're not under oath, okay, I can't ask you. So you're not aware of that text, okay? You said you're a remote worker. Most remote workers have an office in a bedroom somewhere. Why do you need something this big to do
Well,
remote work?
I'd have brought my 2-year-old here, but he probably would have caused quite the commotion. So with 3 of them running around in the house, I think it's pretty self-explanatory on the need for an exterior office. Right now, it's in the front bedroom of our home, right next to the living room. So my wife stays at home. So the house is utilized for a family to be there during the day.
Well, this is more than an office for remote work.
That's correct, yes, sir. So there's an office in there. There is also a workout room. My wife works out during the day. The workout room is in the house right now, right next to both the children's bedrooms. So in order to stay fit, be healthy, we can't do that when they're sleeping. So we put the workout room out there as well. And then, of course, it is a pool house, so there is an entertainment aspect to it as well. So, yes, sir.
The last thing you said, you mentioned that the variances will not create any inconvenience to anyone. You don't consider your neighbors' inconvenience as something important, or the community opportunity?
Actually, I
or just
think
your personal-
it said the variance will not create any negative impacts. So I don't think I said that exactly.
No
Yeah.
negative impact. You're just talking
I'm
about
talking,
yourself,
this,
not the community then?
no, sir, I'm not mentioning that at all. It specifically says that it will not impact the drainage, the runoff issues, because we have an engineered survey for that. The project does not interfere with septic access, and it is fully consistent with community standards, meaning it does match our current structure. So I don't think I in any way mentioned that I am selfish.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank
for your
you.
time. Ms. Delaney, Ms. Duffy, were you planning on speaking as well, or? Okay, thank you.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
I signed the sheet for public input.
Okay.
Do you want me to speak then or now or?
I only had two, I had Kim Delaney and, oh, I apologize. I do apologize for that. Let's see. But yes, you have your right to be heard, please.
Good evening. I am Larry Johnson, long
sorry.
time.
Mr. Johnson, if you could start with the.
Oh,
truth
sure,
vote,
sure, sure.
And if you wouldn't mind, try to keep your comments to 3 minutes, that'd be great.
Yes, sir. I, Larry Johnson, swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Thank you.
So I am longtime former council member, former mayor. I don't come to these meetings. But I have to say, first, as a citizen, thank you. You have an impossible job here. And I've seen it firsthand. I'm impressed with the questions and the care. I am a successful businessman. I'm a very successful lawyer. I would encourage each of you, any legal advice you have been given on this matter, get it in writing. It's for your benefit. I would also point out that something that's kind of lurking in the background is, regrettably, we have an approval issued by an outsourced third party that, I'm surprised nobody asked the question, did they ever come and actually physically view the plans, physically view the site? Because it wouldn't take long to figure out there's a problem here. And there clearly is contradictory statements between the builder and the architect as to variance and coming to the town and not. So I don't know if you have to actually decide tonight, but I think there's a little bit more digging to be done here, and you might want to consider that. Again, wish you well on your decision-making. It's a tough one. And I'm glad you folks are up here.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Any other input desired by anyone in the public? Yes, sir. Please.
To speak for, I've already done my few minutes, can I, just a couple things that have come up?
I'm sorry,
Is it allowable for me to come up and address a couple things that have come up since we spoke?
Yeah, I'm sorry, if we need if we have come up with clarifying questions from your testimony, we may ask you to come up and clarify that. We can't take additional testimony at this time based on that, but otherwise we're gonna do a huge back and forth with everybody involved, and so we want to avoid that. Yes, thank you for that. Okay, at this time, we're going to wrap up the public hearing portion of this meeting. As you can note in the agenda, we will also return to executive session on the basis of the testimony given here. Do I have a motion from a board member to?
We don't need a motion. We're just closing the public hearing and going back into executive session.
Okay, I'm taking it by agenda, that's fine.
You said we can bring it back up if we have a question.
We may need to,
Well, those are the witnesses. There's a difference between the witnesses and the people who are
Yeah.
providing public input.
So we'll step into executive session, we'll answer those questions with the town attorney, and then if we come back to that, we'll come back to that.
Okay.
Okay. All right, at this point, we're going to step into executive session. Again, bear with us, I apologize. We'll be back as soon as we can to take the next steps in the hearing itself. Thank you. Once again, thank you for your patience with us this evening. We are closing the executive session at 9 o'clock exactly, and I do apologize for the delay. At this point, the Board of Adjustments will hear motions for the approval or denial of the 3 variances. We will take these variance requests in order and vote on them individually with a roll call vote of the board members. Do I have a motion on the first variance, which relates to the, let me read it. The first variance as listed is based on the height of the building, not to exceed the 20-foot, sorry, let me be clear. Based on the height of the building, calls for 35-foot side yard setback. The landowner is requesting approval of an 18-foot side yard setback. Do I have a motion on how to vote for that variance?
I'll make a motion to deny the variance for height of the building.
Do I have a second on motion to
I
deny?
second.
Okay, so, Board Member Smock
I'll vote.
made the motion? One second.
Sorry.
Made the motion. The motion was seconded by Board Member Langston. I'll call, roll call vote on this variance, starting with Board Member Olson. It's a
I'll vote in
vote to
favor.
deny.
Yes.
Yes to deny. Motts? Board Member Motts?
Vote to deny.
Board Member Smock?
4 to deny.
Board Member Langston?
To deny.
And I, as chair, also vote to deny that variance. Second, do I have a motion to call a vote for the variance of item number 2, which is the requirement of the maximum building height of 20 feet. The resident is asking for approval of 23 feet, 6 inches of roof height.
We already, wasn't that
Yeah,
the
that
first,
was the
that was
height.
the first
No.
vote?
No.
Let me be clear, I read this out. The first motion was calling for a 35-foot side yard setback, requesting a 35-foot side yard setback on the ordinance of 18 feet. That was the first vote.
Okay.
Sheila, do you have that? Mike, okay, good, so we can make sure. So that request for variance is denied. Now I'll hear a motion regarding the second variance request. The ordinance requires a maximum building height of 20 feet. The resident is requesting approval for 23 feet, 6 inches. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion to deny the variance of the height of the building.
Do I have a second? Oh, sorry, Board Member Smock has made a motion to deny the variance request for the height in excess of 20 feet of the building. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Board Member Langston has seconded that. We'll now vote on this motion by roll call. Board Member Olson?
Vote to deny.
Board Member Motts?
Vote to deny.
Board Member Smock?
4 to deny.
Board Member Langston?
Vote to deny.
And I am also in vote for to deny the variance. So this variance is subsequently also denied. Now, the third item on the variance request is regarding the square footage of the building. The ordinance requires a maximum square foot of 1,200 feet. The resident is asking for an approval of 1,622 square feet. In this particular, do I have a specific motion to approve or deny this variance?
I'll make a motion to compromise on the square footage of the variance, to approve the 900 air-conditioned space and garage, but not to include covering of the patio.
So the motion is by Board Member Smock is to approve the variance under the conditions that there be no structured covering of the patio, which would allow the existing square footage of the air-conditioned space and the existing square footage of the garage. Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second.
A second. So now we will vote on the approval of this. We will vote to approve this variance under those conditions, also by roll call, starting with Board Member Olson.
Vote to approve.
To approve. The approval, okay. Board Member Motts?
Disapprove.
Denied. Board Member Smock?
I'll approve.
Board Member Langston?
I deny.
And I vote to approve. In order to grant a variance according to the ordinance under the Board of Adjustment, The approval of variance requires a supermajority of 75% vote. By virtue of not receiving 75% vote for that variance, the variance is subsequently also denied.
Point of clarification, please. So, Mr. Olson, you said yes, approve that variance.
This last one, yes.
Mr. Motts, you said to deny it. Gary, you said
Approve.
approve. Langston? to
Deny.
Deny. And Simon?
Approve.
Oh, it's four, yeah, to approve.
To approve.
Based on the conclusion of the agenda items at hand, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Board Member Olson has made a motion to adjourn the meeting. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Board Member Motts. The hearing is closed and the meeting is adjourned as of 9:06 PM.